Dun, 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 dun. No, no Adele this morning.
No Adele.
I'm still left over. I'm still hanging out from last night.
Good morning, guys.
What's up, guys? What's happening? Let me tell y'all something. First of all, I just want to say welcome to Breakfast with the Brookses. And I heard the hottest song, the hottest rendition of Adele's. I don't even know the name of the song, the one she does with Joe. Or Joe does a version of it, and from DC, as y'all know, they had the go-go beat, y'all. Your man thought he was going to lose his mind. Good morning, everybody. My name is Glenn P. Brooks Jr. I am an author. I am a speaker. I'm a coach, and I'm sitting next to the lovely, light-skinned, fresh off of her world tour.
Oh gosh, Cherie Brooks Jr., author, speaker, relationship, and life balance coach, and it's great to be with you guys this morning. And it is a special weekend this weekend.
Absolutely. Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day to all those fathers out there.
Let me say something real quick, babe. This is that time of the year where a lot of fathers, they start to feel a little some type of way, right? And the reason why is because, and we all know it, Mother's Day, and rightfully so, is going to get like its due. I think they say that Mother's Day is probably the largest holiday where people get flowers and there's more money spent on Mother's Day, I think, than Christmas almost. It's just ridiculous. Why? Because we already know girls rule the world. We know that, right? But if we ain't there, y'all gonna blow it up too. So we gotta be there and say, come here, come back. I need you to come back.
It's amazing, and I've never really noticed it until the last couple of years because we all get together for Father's Day. My son, husband, my brother, my father, that you can go to any restaurant on Father's Day and you don't have to wait.
You don't have to wait. I love it.
On Mother's Day, you got to book reservations
in 3 months in advance.
You're going to wait 2 hours to get seated. And I'm like,
this is crazy.
People don't go out on Father's Day?
No, they don't celebrate fathers on Father's Day.
They don't do anything on
Father's Day? They just say, Dad, you good. Appreciate you, bro. Now, can I get
you some socks and some cologne and you good?
Can I get some money to go out tonight?
Not fair.
You girls say it's just not fair.
So I
just want to say happy Father's Day from our house to yours, fellas.
And if no one else tells you they appreciate you, we appreciate
we absolutely appreciate
all that you do as a father.
Absolutely.
It is a tireless job. It is just like being a mother. It's one of those jobs that you don't get appreciated often.
Yeah.
But I want to let you know, brothers, that you are appreciated.
Yeah. Happy Father's Day.
Those of you that are involved with your kids, do the best you can.
Yeah.
Just be there.
Listen, and here's the other thing. No regrets, fellas. Just do what you know to do. And when you don't know to do, go get some more information and then do that. All right. So today we're going to have a great show. I'm super excited. Real quick, we got people jumping in. Karen says, Happy Father's Day. Hey, Cherie. We got Eric Jones Jr. Shout out to the MAPS community. Really appreciate you guys for jumping in. Do me a favor, guys, particularly if you are a replay viewer. I want you to go ahead and share this out. I want you to tag as many fathers as possible, as many men as possible. We got Alatish, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. I hope I got that right. You just jumped in the room. I appreciate you. But we have a special show on for today. And for those of you all who are raising multiple kids, particularly as fathers, and you trying to figure out the dynamics of the different ages and all that kind of stuff, and particularly as they get older, when they become grown. Today's guest, my good friend Ray Johnson, is going to be with us. Before we go to Ray, I do want to say this, guys, really quickly. Here's what I want y'all to do. If you don't know anything about the MAPS community, you're wrong. You're just wrong. We want to encourage you to, if you are a parent, if you are married, if you are trying to do healthy relationships, particularly in the way,
thinking about getting married,
even if you're
thinking about being a parent,
if you're thinking about it. We got people. Cherie and I created an online relationship academy. It's called MAPS, Marriages and Parenting Successfully, and it's an online relationship academy that meets every week. We have 4 different rooms. We have a room for couples. We have a room for parents. We have a room for women only, and then we have a room for men only. And our whole goal, babe, is to talk about what it looks like to build the skill sets that it takes to make relationships work properly.
Right. The thing that we realize, and for those of you that know us and those of you that don't, we both have been married before. I've had 2 failed marriages before. This is Glenn's second marriage also. And
Did you say 2?
I've had 2 failed.
That means 3 times is the charm. I'm the charm.
Yes.
I had to get that in.
Anyway, And so we learned over the years that one of the key things in order for us to have a successful relationship was being in community.
Yep.
That when you try to be in relationship by yourself, you're only operating from your individual perspectives, and you need to have your perspective challenged in order to grow in life, period, but especially in relationships. And so that's why we created the MAPS community, to create an environment where you can get different perspectives from different people and also learn some things, from some seasoned veterans in the game, and also some new people coming along that have different techniques to help you be able to succeed.
So it's really all about the practical application. Like, how do you do that? Many people are in love, or they love each other, but they don't know how to love. And that's huge. Mm-hmm. And if you don't know how to love your spouse, your significant other, your children, I promise you, you will ruin them trying to love them, because you won't know what you're doing. So we want to encourage you, if you would like more information about that, if you want to join the group, we'd love to have you. Just check us out at www.thecrcoach.com. It's scrolling at the bottom, and we would love to see you there. Today's broadcast is going to be replayed on our YouTube channel, and we're showing you some love. Cherie's got herself a new toy. Cherie's got a new toy, guys. We want you to go to www.youtube.com/thecrcoach. And that's where you can catch all the replays. I had to do something, because before she was doing this and she was killing me. So she came up with this new little toy that she figured she'd write it on and help y'all out. So do me a favor, guys, please hop over. If you're a replay viewer, obviously you probably are watching this on youtube.com. We certainly want you to subscribe to the channel so that you get notifications, because Breakfast with the Brooks is just one of many things that we're going to be loading up on there, and we're going to make sure that you guys get access to. So we appreciate that. Babe, I'm excited today. We've got a guy on that we've been friends for, I met Ray in 2004. Remember when we came down, we were in DC at the time. It was 2004. Right before we went to, I think, South Africa, or right after we got back, or whatever it was, we had an opportunity to bring one of the stage plays down here to Chrysler Hall. Right. And at the time, Ray was highly, highly connected. He always has been, to the Hampton Roads area. But I believe he was either running for office, or he was in one of the local political offices. But he had a team that helped us be able to literally canvas. He and a bunch of other people helped us canvas this entire area and reach a significant amount of people for that production. And so we've been friends ever since. And now we live here in Hampton Roads, and I am super excited, guys, to have this brother on. He is a father. He is a pastor. He's a leader. Is a scholar, as far as I'm concerned. He don't come across that way, but he's got more degrees than most people. And and the crazy thing is that I'm not intimidated by him, because he don't use them $1,500 words. He just uses the $25 ones. And those are the ones I'm saying, bro, can you give me some change? I need to get a little change on them words, because I don't know that. So he's a brilliant guy, extremely, extremely connected to the community. His church is a church that sort of lives and breathes for the community. There are many churches that are in a community and they're responsible to the community. And I get that. But Ray, in his leadership, he leads from a perspective as, I'm almost responsible for you. So what y'all do matter. How you guys are growing matter. So it's a long introduction. It was a long relationship. I love this brother. I get the opportunity to coach him through some of his relationship issues and things like that. And so I thought it would be great to have him on. Welcome to the first time. Ladies and gentlemen, do me a favor. Please put your hands together and welcome my good friend, Ray Johnson. What's going on, brother? How you feeling? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening?
Man, it is good to be with y'all. I have made it to Breakfast with the Brooks. I have arrived, as they say in the South. I'm in hot cotton.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. You are official now, bro.
Right. Yeah, man.
It is so good to have you, Ray. Thanks for saying yes. We've got a lot to talk about today. We've got a lot of things going on. And I just really kind of want to start with you introducing yourself to our community. Obviously, this is a community that cares about growing healthy relationships, and people who want to know, like, how are you doing that? Like, they want to know the behind the scenes stuff, because at the end of the day, Ray, I honestly believe Cherie and I, we're not perfect, but we are winning. And there are a ton of people out there like us who you don't get it right all the time. As a matter of fact, you don't get it right a lot of the time. but you are working at continually pressing yourself to change so that you can continue to get it right as you move. So introduce yourself. You've got 4 beautiful daughters. Happy Father's Day, sir.
Yes, happy Father's Day.
And they go from grown to think they grown, from think they grown to grown. Right? So talk to us a little bit about your journey, man.
Indeed. Before I start with them, you talked about, how our church believes that we're responsible for the community. We're right there in the heart of Newport News downtown at Dominion Outreach Worship Center. And happening right now is our weekly homeless feeding program where we serve those who are in need in our local community. And last week, I had a chance to just kind of step in. Normally I have about 5 or 6 different churches that partner with us, but I took time to kind of go down there myself and be engaged and be involved. And I said to our local community, I said, listen, I want you all to know that this is your church. And so they all kind of looked around. I said, some of you all have been coming here 3 or 4 years at a time, and you're down on your luck. But we want to make sure that we work together so that this is a sightly place in this community and that it becomes a beacon and a lighthouse. And I said, listen, can y'all just help me make sure that the property is taken care of? Because we don't want any citations by the city. And I had them kind of communicate, this is their church. A week later, streets pristine and clean because they believe this is their church. So that's what you talk about, what we mean when we say engage in the community. They are a part of us. We're a part of them. That being said, I'm a father of four girls, ages now today. Let's see if I get this right. Now today, 22, 20, 16, and 14. And I'm telling you, they are all of the same gender. Which Glenn, that's not my job. And so y'all pray for me.
The estrogen is on next level in your house. Bro.
Listen here, my Lord.
Man, listen, Ray, one of the things that I realized, and Cherie, I really want you to jump in. It's tough parenting anyway. That's not an easy job. But I think that when you're dealing with opposite sex type parenting, meaning you are the parent of it, and we've got friends that have all boys, and I think about Renee and Rivian, and I think about her being the only estrogen voice in the house, right. And she's in a house full of all this testosterone. One of the things that I find that's really tough is to navigate the differences, right. As they're growing. It's easy to kind of zone in on when they're, adolescents or maybe toddlers or whatever. When they're little. But as they get older, those teenage years, when you are of a different gender, it's tough. And so I know that you had some challenges connecting with Justin in the very beginning. It was just kind of crazy.
Right. And the truth of the matter is that you have to recognize and you have to acknowledge that you are different. That, I'm a female. And so raising a boy, I know nothing. He was like an alien to me. The way he thought, the way that he processed, I'm like, what is wrong with him? It's like with my daughter, I could relate to her. I understood how she processed. I understood how, the things that she went through. But with my son, I was like, what's wrong with him? Yeah. It was foreign to me. Yeah. It was completely foreign. And I had to recognize early on that, we are different. I never raised a boy before. I don't know what that's like. I had a brother growing up, but that's different. Yeah. When you're raising a child that's not the same as you. And I can only imagine having 4 of them that are not the same as you. You've had to have had your challenges.
Right. So Ray, I want you to talk to us just a little bit about, let's talk about lessons learned. Some of the biggest lessons that you've learned as a father, trying to figure it out on the fly, with raising girls particularly. Biggest lessons learned. Talk to us. Give me maybe the top 3 lessons if I had to press you for it. I know I didn't ask you off camera, but maybe the top 3 lessons that you've learned so far during this journey of parenting girls.
It is more important when you're parenting girls. It is more important for them to be heard and then be understood. Yeah. And so, with my older 2, now I didn't get everything right along the way, Glenn. I learned, Cherie, along the way. And I had to learn that, it's better for me to just sit, listen, and hear them than try to fix everything that they were walking through and going along with. And so it wasn't important for me to have the solution to the answer. It was, I just want to be in Daddy's presence, and I just want you to hear me, and I just want to know that you care. Yep. And Glenn, the way that we're wired as men, We're about fix it, bottom line, let's get it done. It's got to happen. This is what you need to do. Bye, 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 bye. Absolutely. And with the girls, it was more about, you know, connecting with me, if I could use this term, relationally. Yeah. And I was like, hold up, we ain't got time for all that. This got to happen. This got to happen. This got to happen. This got to happen. And so in some instances, I tried to help them think that way. But I'm telling you, it was really about connecting with them. And then the second one, I know this may sound trivial for some people. That's my first $25 word for the day.
Let's keep it in the $25 range, Ray. Let's keep it in the $25 range, bro. That's it.
This is what I found. You know, girls are girls are girls. Yes. And let me explain what I mean. So, you know, my first two, you know, they were like quote unquote tomboys. Okay. And so they're exactly, you know, 16 months apart from each other in terms of age. And I would take them with me everywhere. So you remember back in the day, I was a ball player and a hooper. So I would have them at the court with me. And then I would take them to the playground, and they were like little tomboys all over the monkey bars, all that kind of stuff. They were riding bikes in the neighborhood. They do about everything about a bike you could think of, and they were popping wheelies and all that kind of stuff. Now they did that. I mean, they were the real deal. And I mean, they dressed like me. They were tomboys. I mean, they were. Can you imagine an 8-year-old with some felines on?
Wow.
And her sweatsuit, but she with her daddy. Right. So she was good. So, but about age 11, 12. As much time as I put in cultivating these girls, girls are girls are girls.
Right.
And it switched overnight on me to makeup, eyelashes, fashion. How does my hair look? I was like, what you care about? Glenn, when they were 2 and 4, man, I can plait like nobody's business. I don't even know if they say plait anymore now. No. But braid is what it's called now, Tree. I think that's what it's called. I could do that like nobody's business. But today, you know, an hour working on that hair, I'm like, girl, you got to go to school.
Absolutely.
You got to get from around here.
Absolutely.
So that would be the second one. Understand, for men who are raising daughters, girls are girls are girls, and they're going to be girls, and you want that. Right. And you want to welcome that change when it comes and when it happens. Yep. And then all of a sudden, here's the third one that I think I learned. I think that girls, when they come into those teen and adolescent years, that thing about privacy is very important for them. Now, I think this is can be general on both sides. You know, boys, when they're in their rooms, it's PlayStation. You know, today, back in our day, it was Atari 2300. Yeah. And you can play that. Right. Right. You got that happening probably out in the living room, and you took over mom's TV. But now with girls, the room is the oasis for them. Yes. And I had to learn that knocking on the door before I went in was a means of respecting their space. Now, Glenn, the way you and I grew up, it was, you don't have no room. This is my house.
Right.
Pay rent. Hello? I mean, and that's just how it go. Right. But girls, that thing, and I didn't realize this, Sheree, that me knocking on the door was respecting her person.
Right.
And that had to develop and grow on me in terms of because now I'm training them and preparing them for how a man is going to treat them, and that they are not property and got to do everything at my beck and call.
Right.
And so I was preparing them. Someone said to me, you know, in my own dynamic, you know, you come up, blow the horn, that kind of thing. Let me say, for men who are raising girls, that you are not in the house with them. You are not training them to respond to a car horn. You are training them to actually be apprehended and pursued. So you go to the door where they are, you open the car door for them, you open it, you know, when they're getting in, when they're getting out, you ask how they're feeling, that kind of thing. And so even now with my 20-year-olds, it's kind of like I'm dating them now. As I spend time with them, and they're learning through the process of dating me in this phase of what kind of man really do I want in my life. So those are just a couple of lessons and things along the way. And I didn't get all those right. Some of those kind of like hit me upside the head. This is what's happening. And I'm like, okay, I got to adjust to the dynamic.
Right. I think it's great that you talked about the modeling, like even with when you talked about the situation of for the father that's not in the home, you know, that'll
Right.
you see this often. The father will drive up, he's coming to pick the kids up, he's gonna sit out in the house and blow the horn. And like you said, that's modeling for them how a man is gonna treat them. So if daddy to come and pick me up and he blows the horn, that means a few years later when I'm dating, dude can just roll up, blow the horn, and I'm gonna come running out the house. And you have to teach them through your example how to respect themselves,
Right.
what level of respect, you know, what level of honor they should be getting from another man. And I think that that's essential, and that, you know, it's important that brothers understand, even if you're not in the home with your children, even if you are, you're not with the mother and you're raising them separately, you still have to model for them. This is for girls and boys, how to be treated.
Right.
And it's especially essential for girls. We need that modeled by our father.
Yes.
You don't learn that from your father, you know, you're not going to know what to expect. And that's one thing I can say that Glenn did with our daughter, with Shantae. He dated her when she was 13, 14, 15. He started it very early. He was telling her what to expect. So by the time she did start dating, and for her, it really was when she was in college. She was so focused, she didn't really date in high school. But
good for her.
You know, was a little concerned to a degree because her standard was so high. I'm like, oh my God, she's never gonna get married.
Right.
Because they would do one little thing,
and she'd be like,
I'm done.
They're done.
Listen,
that was good.
I'm gonna tell you why what you did, Glenn, is important, and what I did. Now, I didn't get all of my stuff right along the way, but I started dating them at age 2, all the way through. And if I had a fourth thing for guys like me who are raising multiple girls, every girl is different.
Yes.
You cannot treat them all the same. They've got different personalities, different makeups. They've got a different way in how they see the world. And so, and remember that they are a piece of you and their mom, or you and their wife, and your wife. They are part of who you are, but they are different from you. Right. And so that piece that you just mentioned, Cherie, about going to the door, getting them, waiting for them, stepping inside the house. What's critically important for fathers is making sure that you model accountability for young men.
Love it.
So, you know, there's a young man, I just tell that I won't mention which girl, but when they were in high school, I'll just say it that way. There was a young man that she was coming out, you know, and I was picking her up from one of her after school activities, and this dude slid in the car behind her, whipped out his cell phone, and was like, "Yeah, go ahead and put your number in right there, and I'm gonna call you." Blah 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 blah. So you know me, you know I'm Reverend and all of that, but Glenn, you know I'm an everyday dude. I'm a G by that. You know how that goes. So I'm sweatsuit, baseball hat on. I don't look like the preacher that day. So and that day. So and then I'm leaned down, weighed out in the car, and so you know I'm doing that kind of thing. And this dude gets in, and I'm looking at him like he's crazy, and he thinks I'm like her older brother. So now let's just take a time out for a second. First of all, in our day, we were still a little bit afraid of the older brothers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Look at where we have progressed today, where they're not even thinking about the older brother or the cousin or the uncle or whoever. So I literally had to get out of the car. I walked around. I said, "Young man, step out." Talk to him. I said, and I had to hit him like this. I said, "You think she's cute?" I said, "You think she's fine or whatever?" And then I literally said to him, I said, "I want you to look at her and then look at me, and then look at her and then look at me." So look at her nose, her eyes, her face. I said, "Let's go a little bit further." I said, "Look at her thighs, look at her lips." I said, "Look at my thighs, look at my hips." I said, "You think she's cute?" And he goes, "Yeah, well, I said, "Let me tell you something." I said, "Every time you look at her, you looking at me." I said, "Is something wrong?" I said, "Do you like me?" And I went there with him, and all of a sudden, of course, needless to say, he didn't show up anymore. But what that revealed to her is what his intentions were.
Right.
And so now that accountability got put in, and it says to her, my dad is my first protector.
Right.
So now when she gets married, the anticipation and the expectation is my husband will be my first protector.
I love it. I love it. I love it, brother. For those of you all who are just jumping in, this is my great friend. I'm proud to call him my friend, Ray Johnson. He's a pastor. He's a community leader on other levels. The father of 4, not just 4, but 4 girls. And we're pleased to have him on Breakfast with the Brookses. You guys can follow him. Look at the scroll at the bottom on Instagram. He's all over social media. His Twitter account is posted here as well. And I don't have time to list them all. I mean, they're listed here. Y'all read them and follow him. Also follow him on Facebook, Ray Johnson, or at Walk of Dominion. Guys, let me say this. And Ray, I'm look, bro, we could talk about these dynamics, because the truth of the matter is that they are real and they're deep, and the implications that they have on our community are huge.
Yes.
I think, unfortunately, what's happened is over time, our culture has sort of taken a back seat to this idea of accountability, meaning there was a time where the community held you accountable.
Right.
Like you just, it's kind of allude to what you were just saying. You weren't going to just walk up and just knock on somebody's door at any time of day or night. Miss so-and-so, whoever the neighborhood watch before it was official, she was on her porch talking about, baby, can I help you? Can I help you, baby? I mean, it's a little late.
Yeah.
A little late. And there was this, there was just this unique accountability. And I think that this wasn't just in our culture. This was cross-cultural. Right. This was family. This was the fabric of family during a period of time. And I don't want to sound like the old guy talking about back in my day, but what I believe is, what I do believe is that we've lost something.
Right, and we've lost a level of respect.
We've lost a level of respect.
There's a level of respect that's been lost. Even, the situation you talked about, Ray, with the young man, just hopping in the car. I think there's some foundational things that have been lost in our generation today.
Absolutely, absolutely.
It's some foundational things that we learned in our generation that were levels of respect, level of accountability that were there that aren't there now.
Yeah, and I think that we have a responsibility, and I've often said to the millennials that I get to lead, my children, I get to own the fact that that's partly our fault.
Right.
And I'm gonna say, I don't think we get to throw an entire generation under the bus without taking some level of culpability. Right. I mean, we're culpable, a level of responsibility, and to be accountable for our action or our inaction. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think that what you're doing in y'all's community there in Newport News is really, really incredible. You guys, and I'm going to turn the corner here, y'all are doing something about this. Mm-hmm. Y'all are not just talking about that there's this generation and what in the world happened to them and it's a shame and all this stuff. And you're talking about the problem without creating some kind of mechanism to talk to the solution. And so coming up next week, you guys are doing what's called the Restoring the Foundation Conference. It's a family conference. Mm-hmm. You guys are designed specifically to kind of speak to the need level of where families are and bring together, assemble some folks that can help speak to that. Cherie and I are going to be there. We're super excited to be invited. Tell us a little bit about sort of your heartbeat relative to being a parent and all that kind of stuff. What are you seeing and why this conference? Why Restoring the Foundation?
Because it's exactly in terms of what you all just mentioned about foundations. Our theme scripture for the month is from Psalms 11:3. If the foundations are destroyed, what can the righteous do? And so we know that word righteousness has to do with God's standard and his way of doing things. And so it becomes critically important for us to re-implement that back into our local communities because of the fabric and makeup of what family looks like today, which is to say, Glenn and Cherie, families come in all different shapes, sizes, and dynamics.
Yeah.
And so, there is no one size cookie cutter approach to this. And we understand God's ideal is a father and a mother, a man and a woman that are together in matrimony. But the reality is that people have got different dynamics, such as you all 19 years in a row in your second and third marriage, doing it strong, doing it big. And as a pastor, I had to open my eyes a little bit. And I had to go, as much as I am teaching and doing everything I can to model, everybody is not reflective of this. Right. Now, they could be, And the truth of the matter is they should be. But how do we get from where we are to where we need to be? And the key about that is foundation building. And just like when you're building a house, if the foundation is not laid properly, one of the things about our location in our building, it is a 115-year-old structure. It's historic. But as I have architects walk through it all the time, and I've got a portion that I'm thinking about tearing down and rebuilding and doing something new with. And so they will refer to me, leave this one over here alone. This east wing, don't even touch that. That's historic, but the foundation of it is so solid, it'll be here another 100 years. But what we want to do in the fabric of family is have such a foundation that is so solid that legacy for years to come is able to be seen that comes out of this conference. And so it's about really shoring up and building in some areas for both men and women. And as you all have mentioned already, whether you're a grandparent, a co-parent, a man, a woman, if you've experienced divorce or you're single, this conference is for you because we've got to take a good look at where we are as a community of people in terms of how we've kind of progressed through history. Yeah. Here's an interesting quick side piece, Glenn. Do you know in 1960, coming out of the Jim Crow area and post-slavery, more of our family units, two-parent family units, were together at a much more higher rate than it is today. Correct. And we were in bondage through separate and unequal laws, brown bag laws, poll tax laws, all those kinds of things that could easily destroy family. We were able to hold it together. And something you said before, y'all can expound on this for our listening audience, is about how important values are in terms of being central, holding people together. And that's what this conference is about, getting you to be on the same page so that you speak the same thing, believe the same thing, think the same thing. And that's really what it's all about.
I love it. For those of you all who are just tuning in, we're talking about the Restoring the Foundation Family Conference in Newport News. Dominion Outreach is hosting that. Ray, you're the host, Pastor. Man, I'm so excited about this because I think that this kind of sort of represents all of what Cherie and I are about. For those of you all want to find out more, maybe you're in the Hampton Roads area, look at the screen at the bottom, Dominion Ministries.tv is where you want to go. There is a nominal fee to it, but here's what I will promise you. It is absolutely worth the minor investment. Let me tell you the bigger investment. It's not the dollars, it's going to be your time. Right. Let me help y'all understand. This is not about you spending money to go do something. You're not going to the movies here. Mm-hmm. We're not, this is not something that's going to entertain and tickle. We're going to push some buttons and we're going to deal with some issues. There's a reason why that Cherie and I are winning now, this for me second and for her third time around. The statistics say that we should have lost 70% of the time. Right. In other words, we and I shouldn't be sitting here, and we certainly shouldn't be sitting here helping other couples. And why are we able to do it? There's some specific skills that we've developed along the way. It has nothing to do, I'm going to mess some people's theology up. It has nothing to do with our relationship with God in the respect that we knew God then. Right. Mm-hmm. And we know God now. If it was God, then it would have worked then. I'm gonna push some Christians' buttons in the sense that, I hear this term, you got to put God first. Let me explain something to you. That's such an esoterical thought when you think about it's out here. My question, what do you do when it's in your living room? Right. How do you bring God into your house so that you now can exercise those principles? So for those that are wondering, this is not some, especially not in our sessions, we ain't preaching to you. This is not a reworked Bible study. Right, I promise you. Right. This is a nuts and bolts technical breakdown. How do you execute on this? When you are coming home and you have to have a dialogue with your co-parent because they are wearing you out and it's causing strife in your home because of how they're carrying things. And now you don't know how to deal with it. How do you fix that? How do you deal with that aside from just praying? Right. So we're going to do the doing. This is very much a James situation. It's going to be a faith and works kind of a conference. And I just want you guys to really, really, if you're in the area, please sign up. Come on out. It's a Thursday through a Saturday. And we're going to be there several nights. There's several sessions that we're going to be talking about. Cherie, you're going to be doing a subject just dealing specifically with single parents, and that's your journey.
Right. And one thing that I'm really excited about this conference is that it's going to speak to people where they are. This is not just for married people. This is not just for parents. This is not just for people in, as you stated, Ray, people in a traditional family structure. It's going to speak to you wherever you are. Like, I'm going to be doing a session dealing with single mothers, dealing with, in your single mothers and fathers, just when you're a single parent, and how do you navigate through that in getting in a relationship, and just dealing with some issues with that. But the thing that I'm really encouraged about is that this is a conference that's going to really deal with those foundational principles. So no matter what type of relationship you're in, no matter where you are in that relationship journey, there are some foundational things that you need to know, that you need to be able to put in place. And that's the bigger thing. It's one thing to know it, but it's another thing to actually put them in place, to actually do the
implement them, right?
To implement it.
Yeah.
And we're going to help you be able to learn how to implement those things so that you can improve your relationship.
Yeah, I know, because when I met you, you had been a single parent for, all of Shantae's life. She was 11 pretty much when I met her. Mm-hmm. She's 33 now, and I just want to help you guys out because of the foundation. Listen to me very carefully. That Cherie established along the way. It made it easier for me to come into their life and help be the father. And you have to understand, I'm her third father, but she calls me dad. Right. You understand? Ray, I knew when I showed up, this girl was 11. When she gets 18, she's going to be off to college. I have a very little window, very short window to assert myself, to develop a relationship, to be able to connect with her on a level, to help encourage her and push her to the next place in terms of all I can do. And Cherie helped me to make that transition smoother for her, because she understood. By this time, she was working on herself. She understood authority. She understood now it's time for me to back up and let this man lead, those kinds of things. And it was more than she was tired. That wasn't the issue. It was she understood structure. She was tired. That was one of the no question about that. Let's get that straight.
Right.
But I find that a lot of and we coach women all the time who are single, and then they newly get married or they're in a new relationship. And the challenge, it's hard for you to back up and just let this guy be the leader.
Say it.
That's hard to do. I'm not going front. But the truth of the matter is, it's a necessary thing to do. You gotta be able. Well, that skill set. That's not just you making up your mind. That's what you're going to do.
Right.
Those are skills that actually you need to develop to help you do those kinds of things.
Right. And fortunately and unfortunately, today in our society, there are more blended families. There are more people that have been married and then get remarried, or that have children, are coming into relationships with children. And that's not talked about a lot, especially in the church.
Absolutely.
We don't talk about that. We don't deal with it. We just kind of shun them to the side, just lead them off to themselves. They're going to figure it out. But I like this conference because we're going to deal with those issues and help them realize, ideally, that's not the ideal of what God designed, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
So let's bring God in that and let's make that work. Let's learn how to make that work. And we've been able to, like I said, we've been married. We're coming up on 20 years. We have a blended family, but we've been able to figure out how to do it, how to bring God in it, and how to be successful in our relationship in spite of, the past marriages, in spite of, the co-parenting. We've been able to bring that all together and been able to be successful, all the different dynamics that came with that.
Yeah.
And so, we hope to be able to encourage some people, be able to help you on your journey and let you know it's possible. It's really possible.
Ray, in closing, and we're a little bit over time, but it's cool. I see that people are jumping in. Good to see you, Nikki. Good to see you guys. Do me a favor, Karen, all of y'all, share this out, because I want, as this replay kind of populates throughout the week, I really want people to take, especially if you're here in the Hampton Roads area, to really take control. Really decide, I'm going to take control. And Ray, if you could finish us out by just maybe going over sort of what that looks like and how this conference is going to empower people to really just take control of it.
Well, it's exactly what you said. The Lord put this on my heart to do. We were going to do this. You and I know we were going to do this last year, but the Lord put the brakes on it and said, no, that's not the time. Now is the time. And so being able to, as Cherie mentioned, the two-parent nucleus traditional family is God's intention. But the dynamics of culture have created a new design. And so with that creation of new design, we need to add some equipping. So whether it's, walking through the process of you now being single, looking at getting married, when to introduce the significant other, getting the conceptual framework of God, family, church, community. What does that dynamic look like and how does that work? And if I can just speak just for about 20 seconds here to my good friend, Dr. Najuma Smith, we affectionately call her Dr. Juju. She is a daughter of Chip Murray from the 4th District of the AME out there in California. She pastors in Riverside and with locations in South Central and in Long Beach. And so she is well-rounded, well-groomed. She's a scholar as well. But she gets out there and gets her hands dirty. And she has no problem telling people this. I may be the pastor of these locations, but when I go home, DCAT, her husband Felix, who plays, he's a musician. He travels with a lot of well-known gospel artists. He is my husband, and I am fully submitted and connected to him. And so around here in this house, what he says goes, and then he will talk about, I often lean upon her wisdom and her knowledge. And so they partner together in that. And I brought her because I want ladies to be able to see what it's like to be a woman that's in charge. But still a woman nonetheless, and indeed. And so that's critically important what that looks like. And then looking at the design for family from a blended standpoint, and then having some real talk time for both men and women when it comes to these sessions and some of the breakouts and things that will happen and take place. And so I just want to make sure that people have an understanding. This is something that you want to connect with, that you want to come to. And listen, Glenn, $15. You're going to get every last one of these sessions. You're going to get lunch that's going to be provided for you. And I mean, you can't beat it in terms of the content. So who I am, recovering and reclaiming the identity, your own personal identity. I've gone through this tragedy. I've gone through this breakup. And so now who am I? Yes. God's blueprint for marriage, family, and the church. You guys are going to lead the session on communication, sex, intimacy, and financial investment. Without no finance, there's no romance. How do you guys do that successfully? Single and parenting, blending the two-parent family, a new family dynamic. And then the last one that I really like is what you guys have been through, life after divorce, alive to live again. Yeah. And so you guys will be leading that session. And I want to encourage everybody you can, $15 for singles, $25 for married couples. You're going to get lunch, materials. And well, like I like to say it this way, and you get access to Cherie and Glenn Brooks.
I appreciate, bro. Let me say this, man. Without people, and I tell Cherie all the time, our goal is really to come alongside of entities that are so for family. And when I say that includes the church, that includes some community organizations, anyone who is trying to add value to healthy relationships and structurally building them. And I say that word structurally on purpose. Like, we are a fan of those entities. We are a fan of coming alongside of them, because I think it's a both and, not an either or. You cannot do that as a pastor in your local area by yourself. We can't do this without being able to have the access to the people that you lead. Our goal really is to be a tool for you, a tool for local churches, local organizations, because our experience is unique in the sense that we have not only figured it out, but we can articulate what we did. Yes. And we are transparent and courageous enough to just say it. Like, we don't have no cut cards in that regard. So that's what you get in us. So if you are in the Hampton Roads area, guys, I absolutely really want you to come through and be a part of this. If you need information, go to www.dominionministries.tv. It's scrolling across the bottom of the screen. Nikki just jumped in. She said, I need information. Nikki, it's in the website. It's in the website right here. Like, it's just scrolling by. Purposely gonna leave it there.
So you gonna do your finger
now I'm gonna do my finger now, right? That's normally Cherie's job. But is that no reason for you to, I'm gonna leave it here, Ray. If people are struggling today, it's their fault.
Right.
Yep.
If people are struggling to build relationships and to figure this thing out, it's their fault. I had a mentor of mine tell me, Glenn, stop trying to figure it out. It's already been figured out. The problem is you will not connect to the source of people that have figured it out. My job ain't, look, I figured it out. So all you got to do is come holler at me and connect with us and figure out we've written 7 books between the two of us. The truth is we figured it out, guys. And so now we're just on a journey of implementing that. And we want to affect as many people as possible. So Ray, thank you so much for having us. I'm looking forward to meeting Dr. Juju. I know she's coming clean across the country to do that. It is definitely going to be my honor to share the platform with her and all that what she's doing in South Central LA and all that kind of stuff. And so, man, thank you for being a champion of families. Thank you for leading a group of people, even through your own personal pain and development and growth. A lot of leaders won't do that. And so I just consider this an honor, man, to be able to be here and ride this wave with you.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you, it's critically important to do this. And being able to relate to men, because you guys have a wonderful way of communicating the dynamic of where people find themselves at, and you all call it co-parenting, but really, I'm well educated, but I'm from the hood. And so I got baby daddy and baby mama drama. And so being able to connect with people in that regard to say, how do I manage this and dealing with that and raising children and then having a significant other and bringing that person into the dynamic and then having children again. Right. How you get everybody in the room. That's it.
I know how to fix it. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can't go out like that. Look. I hear somebody. Look, bro, there are people out there talking about, I'm getting ready to answer the call to the prison ministry because I promise you, like God is calling me to a prison ministry. I'm about to kill everybody up in here, and I'm going to go accept my calling to the prison. God is not calling you to the prison ministry.
Listen.
He's not. That's not him. That's you.
The address for this, man, for Nikki that was asking for information, we're located at 119 29th Street in the city of Newport News between Washington and West Avenue. The church takes up the whole block. You can't miss it. Parking is readily and easily available. We'll start Thursday night at 7:30, then in the morning on Friday at 10 a.m., and then another working lunch session at 12 noon, and then we'll come back Friday night at 7:30, Saturday morning at 10 a.m. again. We'll roll through about 2 or 3 sessions. Y'all are earning y'all money that weekend. Y'all were coming anyway, regardless. Then 2 p.m.
Duck on this one. I love
it. So it's gonna be a grind, but it's gonna be good. It'll be some interactive, some fun time in there. We might even throw in the memory lane. And just remember to this point, y'all. Glenn, you talked about our generation, Gen Xers. We've got to be. We own some culpability to the millennials. When you think about, and this is a whole other dynamic, we have to do another show for this. When you think about our music that led to their music and how our families live out of music, that's an interesting dynamic.
Absolutely.
So, we had R. Kelly, Adina Howard, and, the list goes on. We don't even need to go into all of that. We know what time it is.
Absolutely.
So I'm putting y'all back in the boyfriend-girlfriend thing. We're going to let that go.
Right. Look, let me just say this, guys. Again, last thing, and I know we ran a little long today. I don't even care if you had something to do. Go do that. The truth is that we're going to be there next week. If you are listening to this replay, I want to encourage you, please. If you know of anybody in the Hampton Roads area, anybody here in the 7 cities, please tag them. Let them know what it is. I'm going to run this back as many times as we can. We're trying to get as many people there because, guys, let me say this. We don't have all day to change a generation.
No.
We have been culpable, and many of us have silently watched and or complained. And this is going to be the opportunity for you to do something about what it is that you see by doing something in you first, changing so that you can become a part of the solution and not a part of the problem. We got to get out of here. I appreciate your time, Ray. Thank you so much for having us. Yeah. For those of you all who want to know more information about this conference, please go to www.dominionministries.tv. Also, do me a favor, subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can catch this replay, www.youtube.com/the CR Coach. And we would, you didn't point. You did a good job, baby. You did so good. I love it. Just such growth. I love it. So, guys, I just want to let you guys know we'll be back next Saturday, 8 a.m. Every Saturday morning, breakfast with the Brookses. And what we like to say when we close the show, Ray, is that hashtag we all
need some help.
Y'all be good. We'll talk to you soon.
Peace.
See you.